Voodoo, the Voodoo King. Make sure that y'all check me out on Instagram. Oops. Don't want y'all to see my notes. Almost let that fall. But yeah, make sure y'all check me out on Instagram. That's Voodoo King on Instagram. It may be a little bit difficult to see me due to the lack of sunlight, but I'm at the Hard Rock Maldives. I'm at the Hard Rock Maldives. 1 second. Let's bring that up. There we go. All right. So we are here to talk about scattered ancestors. Scattered ancestors. So this is a concept that Baron Samedi gave to me, and Spirit gave me this concept maybe about 2 days ago. And I'm here to give you all a master class. It is a gorgeous view. It looks high to you, but I'm so used to the bird's eye view. Yeah, so the Voodoo King is here. Make sure that you all go to blackspectrumnetwork.com and purchase an Ancestral Life Path reading. Make sure that you all check out blackspectrumnetwork.com because we're at the Hard Rock Maldives. So make sure you all check out blackspectrumnetwork.com. We have new priests and priestesses on the site. So get a sound bowl healing from Priestess Mami Shana. You can get men's counseling or any type of counseling through Ian Bakari. My godfather, Neg Mawon, he's an Asogwe priest. He's also available for you all to book consultations with. I'm so glad to see y'all. Share this video. Make sure you all are sharing this video. I know it's very late where you all are, but we are 10 hours, about 9 to 10 hours ahead, depending on the time zone that you're in. If you are in, if you're in the U.S. right now. But if you're like me and you're in Asia, then I guess it's the most appropriate time for us to be doing this discussion or to be having this discussion. Also, make sure that you go to voodooinstitute.com. That's VOODOO institute.com and book an Ancestral Life Path reading with one of the priestesses on the site. You have the Bougie Priestess, otherwise known as the Pretty Priestess. You have Hunsi Soleil. You also have Manzela Bell Venus, the Love Goddess, also known as Priestess Celeste. You also have the Garden Goddess, otherwise known as Hunsi Olisha Oko. I would strongly encourage you all to check all of those initiated priests out. Again, we are providing you all with authentic indigenous services, okay? Authentic indigenous services. And when we say authentic, this means that our information is sourced directly either from different cities in Nigeria, different cities in Haiti, and different cities in the U.S. also because we're also, conjure workers, root workers, essentially hoodoo practitioners as well. We also have a Mami, like I said, we have a Mami Watsa priestess on our staff as well. Let's see. Yes, go to blackspectrumnetwork.com. Make sure that y'all are posting that link in the chat. I'm really glad to see y'all here. Make sure that y'all got y'all's notes out because we are going to talk about a concept that it may not be so much new to you. I think it's kind of like a tangential concept or kind of like an offshoot. Let's say like what's the word I'm looking for? Spin-off concept. What we've discussed before when we're speaking about ancestor veneration, okay? Now, I want you all, again, to make sure that you all have pen and paper. This is a multiple-part master course where I'm going to be talking to you all about scattered ancestors. The first part of this course is really just going to be talking about who they are, what do they do, and when do they show up. And then I'll be trying to do a Q&A with you all in the comments as well. So make sure that you all hit the skull emoji if you all are ready for the class. Okay, hit the skull emoji if you are ready for the class. Scattered ancestors. I know if you all haven't heard about this, hit the thumb. If you all don't know about scattered ancestors, hit the thumbs up emoji. If you all don't know, hit the thumbs up. Like, yeah, I want to learn. The thumbs up will indicate that you want to learn more. And if you already know, don't say anything. If you already know, don't say anything. Maybe I'm going to introduce you to something new. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So good to see everybody on here. All right, the King of Voodoo is back. All right, scattered ancestors. Now, your scattered ancestors are ancestors that have, essentially been forgotten, or they are, lost. Like, we're not thinking about them. These are ancestors that are often not spoken of, or ancestors that we really don't know about. These ancestors are quote unquote lost, they're lost in the physical realm. They've been lost, died in the physical realm. They may have been lost in the astral realm. They may be lost at the crossroads. And I'm going to be giving some very specific examples of how, of who your scattered ancestors are, where you can find those scattered ancestors, and when they show up. And in part two, we're going to be talking about how we can, you know, cure this crisis, right? Because this really is a crisis. It's a crisis when you have scattered ancestors. And I'm going to be speaking to you all about specific signs that your ancestors are scattered, and some of the consequences of, having scattered ancestors, okay? So the first thing, one of the first types of scattered ancestors are, ancestors who have died on lands that you've never stepped foot on. So this means that you may have an ancestor who you've never been to, let's say, Oyo, Nigeria. And you had an ancestor that died in Oyo, Nigeria. Not due to, it could be due to what happened during the transatlantic slave trade. It may not be, right? But you don't know who this ancestor is. They died on a land that you've not stepped foot on. Therefore, you don't know who they are. This ancestor hasn't been venerated for a while, and you are disconnected from that particular bloodline. That bloodline that you are related to may still exist in that land that you've never stepped foot on, and those relatives have not venerated their ancestors. They may not even know about them. That is one example of a scattered ancestor. Another example of a scattered ancestor is an ancestor. We're going to speak specifically about African and African American history, but ancestors who have died on a ship or died in the Atlantic Ocean. These ancestors are cared for by a Barone, spirit, a Barone guardian that governs the ocean, right? There is a Barone guardian that governs the ocean. Now, we're not just talking about La Sirène, we're not just talking about La Baleine, we're not just talking about Agwe, we are not just talking about Frida, we're not just talking about spirit, mermaid spirits or water spirits that exist in the ocean. We are talking specifically about there is a Barone, meaning there's a guardian of the dead that guards over those ancestors that are scattered. And in part two, I'm going to be talking to you all about how you can work with that Barone so that you can, cure the crisis, essentially, with that particular ancestral bloodline. Now, what about ancestors that have died in the womb? You also have ancestors that have died in the womb. Let's say, for example, your grandmother had twins, and one of those twins lived and the other one didn't. Well, that also would include a scattered ancestor. That ancestor is lost. That ancestor may not have crossed over. That ancestor may be trapped between the realms. That ancestor may still be in this physical realm. And I'll explain how that can happen a little bit later. But what about ancestors who have died in the womb because of the mother's death? Meaning that, for example, I have, I'm not going to bring that up, but I know about instances where pregnant women have been killed, and and the baby died as well. And those two human beings become scattered ancestors, or ancestors that are just lost in the void, lost in the cosmos, or lost to our memory. We don't remember who they are. Now, if you all knew any of this information, if you all knew this information, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't know this information, hit the thumbs down. If it sounds familiar, hit the skull emoji. If it just sounds somewhat familiar, hit the skull emoji, okay? So we also have ancestors that are integrated into families they are unrelated to. This means that you may have a grandparent, for example, who was raised by parents that weren't theirs, right? Or you have an ancestor that was raised by a family that wasn't theirs. You don't know who they are. That ancestor did not know that they were unrelated to that family, right? So in that way, you essentially have scattered ancestors that could be adopted, could be wrongfully integrated into the wrong family. They could be wrongfully associated with those families, or essentially misinformed about who their bloodline is, and they pass away thinking that they were a part of a particular family. The family that they grew up was theirs, and they find out in the afterlife, or you find out in this life, that they weren't. That becomes a scattered ancestor. That's considered a scattered ancestor. We also have ancestors that are literally trapped in this physical realm, right? And you often will find science fiction shows in the United States and Hollywood films, Californian television productions, really any American interpretation of a scattered ancestor is going to include a poltergeist, a ghost, a will-o-wisp. They portray them to be malevolent entities. Those portrayals are actually very much realistic, because there are people who have real life paranormal experiences with malevolent entities, and those malevolent entities are their relatives. And those entities are malevolent because they have been disconnected, disassociated, or they are not congregated into the ancestral collective, right? They are essentially lone ancestors that are walking this earth, right? They have not crossed over. They have dominion over the material realm as astral spirits. They don't have dominion over your life, but they can wreak havoc in your life. They can be problematic, and we're going to be talking specific. We're going to be putting into context what a scattered ancestor is, and we're going to be using Ifa related concepts. But Ifa related concepts are also used in voodoo as well. You have ancestors that are in the lower realms, meaning that you have ancestors that died, and because of their misdeeds, or because they have not corrected their karma in this lifetime, they are trapped into the lower vibrating spiritual experiences, where they may be tortured, they may be unfed, they may be starving, they may be weak, right? And they do not walk with you. They have no dominion over your life because they are powerless. Now, they can become powerful, but until they can become powerful, but because they are not powerful, because they are not a part of a community. When we're thinking about African spiritual practices, we have to remember that our strength is in community, not in numbers, but the strength is in a community, in our cohesion and in our harmony. So when you have an ancestor that's trapped in a lower realm, that ancestor is not ascended, right? The ancestor is alone. Now, that ancestor may be in the company of other scattered ancestors, but low vibrating people and low vibrating energies create conflict for higher vibrating people. They just create conflict in general, right? And when there is conflict, when there is tension, we know that when there's conflict, when there's tension, and then there are bad intentions, right? You have bad intentions, and you want those intentions to create negative outcomes. We know that there's no harmony, there's no cohesion, there's no true sense of community in amongst those energies. That energy is scattered, it's spread out. It becomes it becomes fragmented, essentially. Think about the constellation Gemini. When the planet Jupiter is located in Gemini, that philosophical macro level energy gets fragmented into these tiny chunks of microscopic data, shallow analysis, and tiny bits of curiosity is just spread out everywhere. And you just find that when Jupiter is in Gemini, that this intellectual energy can't really grasp this very large concept, right? In that same way, a scattered ancestor really can't grasp the a bird's eye view. They are very selfish. They want what they want. They um are essentially an energy in motion that's without direction, and they are only going to go in the they are only going to move in the direction that they want to move in. You cannot command this ancestor, and they are not commanded, and they are defiant. They are working against the agungun, the elevated ancestors. Okay. You also have ancestors that can be in hell. You also have ancestors that can be in hell. Yes, hell is real. I've had a client before who had a parent that was in hell, and we had to perform an ancestor veneration ceremony for that one particular ancestor to help them transition. I remember this particular case because I had been using the pendulum in the spirit board. And from the use of that pendulum in the spirit board, I remember having a vision that this ancestor was being poked by pitchforks. And these little demons were torturing that ancestor. This ancestor had been essentially scattered because they had committed some heinous act. They had murdered someone and then traveled to another country, and they were never held accountable for that. Before the victim died, they cursed the murderer, disconnecting them from their ancestral bloodline. Essentially, this was a stolen ancestor, one that was trapped in the pits of hell. Okay, and that could happen to some of you all. So some ancestors can be trapped between the realms due to sudden death. I've also had this happen where I perform mediumship services for clients, and they are getting a reading on a person, and I say that it's difficult for this message to come through due to this person being trapped between the realms. I remember one time I did a reading for a client a few years ago. This is on a podcast, and I was like, all I hear is this person saying, I'm walking, I'm walking, I'm walking. What does that mean? I asked the client, what does that mean? Why are they saying that they're walking? And the client said, well, my friend died because their car ran out of gas. They were walking along an interstate and they were hit by a big truck. And I said, this person doesn't even know that they're dead. They're trapped between realms. They are essentially scattered into the ethos of the universe, and they have no clue of where they are. This person just saw people mourning and crying. When I say this person, I'm speaking about the victim of this tragic accident. They were just walking and saying, hey, I see people crying and they can't hear me. This was a scattered ancestor. You also have when you have ancestors that are not properly when ancestors when they've not been properly transitioned into the spirit realm through a traditional ceremony, that's the scattered ancestor. So you have an ancestor that did not receive a proper transition ceremony, meaning that there are African American people that will bury their ancestors in a traditional funeral setting. That may be enough for a transition, but then there are other ancestors that, because of their karmic destiny, they needed to be transitioned into the astral realm by a Hugan, a Mambo, a Babalawo, or an Ianifa. Okay? And those ancestors are those ancestors are ill-equipped to deal with just being dead. They are ill-equipped to just laying in a coffin, right? Their energy is much bigger than a coffin, right? And it's being suppressed. They end up becoming frustrated and irritated, and they essentially become fallen angels. They fall from grace. They fall from the grace of the Agungun. They fall from the grace of the angels, and they are then scattered into into the larger cosmos, and they act on their own accord. Is there anyone that has a scattered ancestor? Do you all know what I'm talking about? If you all know what I'm talking about with scattered ancestors, hit the thumbs up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, hit the thumbs down. Do you have scattered ancestors? Anybody that has experiences with a scattered ancestor, anyone that's conducted readings, divinations, or consultations due to have, and they've encountered a scattered ancestor. I just want to show y'all how beautiful the Maldives is. Y'all see this? I have an overwater villa. I'm going to take a couple of questions while I wait. I've got more to speak about, but I want to see what y'all are going to talk to me about. Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. I agree. It is absolutely gorgeous. I think that this is definitely one of those places that every black person needs to visit. You you want to you want to you want to be in a paradise where you can, how do I say this? You want to expose yourself to different paradises that provide unrivaled um, amenities. Um, let's just put it that way. Y'all love it. I got. Let me see. Do we have anyone with experience with scattered ancestors? No one. It looks high to you, but I'm so used to a bird's eye view, y'all. And while we wait, I want you all to know that um, Black Spectrum Network has new staff. Voodoo Institute has new staff. We're always growing. I'm also about to start my crisis management firm as well. I'm not exactly sure if the name is going to be Cure the Crisis, Handle the Crisis, or Manipulate the Crisis. But I think it's going to be HandleTheCrisis.com. And my company's going to be called Handle the Crisis. Um, or I was going to call it Shakir and Company. I don't know, but either way, I'm going to be providing strategic counsel to celebrities, politicians, business executives. Um, I'll be providing thought leadership to thought leadership workshops to Fortune 500 companies or any companies that are making um, seven, 8 figures. Um, and I plan to push myself and promote myself to be at the forefront of spirit, at the forefront of spiritual authority, the forefront of crisis management. I'm going to provide you all with a pedigreed and scientific form of leadership. Okay, so as we continue on, I don't want to do too much advertising here, but I just want to say that at Black Spectrum Network um, we we provide you all with services that help you navigate challenging and controversial issues such as having scattered ancestors, and we want to generate positive change in your lives. We are hoping to revitalize you all's interest in African spirituality, and we want to let you all know that our services that we provide are unsurpassed. There is no one else that does it like us at Black Spectrum Network. Okay, here we are presenting you all with a brand new concept, one that you really don't hear about that often, but we are coining it now: scattered ancestors. Um, Remember that our services are multidimensional, meaning that we don't just provide readings, we also provide you all, with, again, I provide the strategic counsel. I can also help you all to grow your business. I can help you all to manage your staff. I particularly specialize as a social psychologist, specialize in the organizational and human development of businesses. So a lot of my workshops again are promoting thought leadership amongst staff that uh, want to become more proactive, more self-directed, and more alpha. Um, so I just want to let you all know that another dimension of what we are offering is that we also offer initiations. If there's anyone that is interested in initiating into Vodou, Haitian voodoo, you to become a Hugan or a Mambo. Get in contact with me if you are interested in learning with Jalowa walk with you. Get a voodoo life path reading for me at blackspectrumnetwork.com. In addition to that, you all in addition to that, I know Ianifa Oshon Funke is offering opportunities to initiate to receive your hand of Ifa, to receive your Elekes. And Priestess Peach Blossom has a Hoodoo King and Hoodoo Queen initiation where you can become a Hoodoo King and Hoodoo Queen. And I just want to let you all know that. I was just watching the influencer video. If y'all are in the group yet, y'all better sign up. Yes, you want to enroll in my influencer program. It is the membership is $100. You want to enroll now. I'm going to be doing it for $100. This is going to be a flat fee of $100 for up until the end of October, and then after that I'm going to be charging a monthly fee for the courses. So you want to get into the influencer program. If you want, I want to just let you all know that my business this year is on its way to accumulating $1 million. Last year we did over 500,000, and I am on my way to 7 figures. So I would like to encourage you all to go to blackspectralnetwork.com and get into that influencer program. Check, it's under my page, and you will have to be a part of our Discord group. If someone could post the Discord group link, that would be phenomenal. Post the Discord group link in the comment section of this video. How does cremation factor into this? Is it relevant? No, cremation is not really relevant. Cremation, if you have a scattered ancestor that was not properly, like say for example, I may not be cremated, but there will be a proper transition voodoo ceremony where I will be properly transitioned into the astral realm when I do die. Right now, if all I had was just a cremation, I am going to be a scattered ancestor. It's just purely a cremation, no ceremony. I'm just going to be a scattered ancestor. Someone says, I think I have. At the time, I didn't know what it was because I started having experiences so young. Not an ancestor, though. This was on Long Island, which has a lot of history and unaware souls. Yes. You could be in a cemetery. You could be at the, you could be, for example, this person, Long Island, New York, not Long Island, California, not Long Island, is it Long Beach in California? But anyway, Long Island, New York, where you are encountering scattered ancestors, and you encounter those ancestors not because they are your own, but because other people did not venerate them. They became poltergeists that are acting on their own accord and showing themselves up to you. All right. Yes, we highly recommend you all get into the influencer program. With someone who committed suicide be a scattered ancestor? We don't know. You have to get a divination. They could be. Someone who committed suicide could be a scattered ancestor. Someone who did not commit suicide could be a scattered ancestor. Someone could live a phenomenal life and not be properly transitioned because they did not initiate, and they could become a scattered ancestor. So yeah. All right. Okay. A little bit more. Give me y'all a little bit more. Then I'll take some more questions. All right. So here's some of the signs that you have a scattered ancestor. You might have an ancestor that shows up in your dreams. It may not be your ancestor. You may not be related to them. Again, scattered ancestors are essentially rogue astral spirits. They'll show up in your dreams. They will show up in divinations. If you're using playing cards, they usually show up as jacks and jokers. If you're using tarot cards, they usually show up as pages and knights. If you're using oracle cards, they will perpetually show up as the man and the woman, and then you'll get other ominous cards such as the birds or the lilies. If you're using the Gypsy Witch deck, you may receive something like I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of the Gypsy Witch deck. It's a card. There are a couple of cards in the Gypsy Wish deck that do have like a negative, like inherently negative connotations to them. I think it's like is it? I know the birds does. The birds do. Um, what else has an inherently negative content? I can't. It's escaping me. But yeah. And you'll also experience paranormal activity in your life as well. So this could mean that drawers randomly open, doors randomly close. You hear random sounds at night. Um, you essentially feel like you're in the movie Paranormal Activity. Check out the trailer. If you're on YouTube right now, you're watching this. Check out the trailer. Check out trailers for the movies Paranormal Activity. If you're experiencing anything like that, that may be a scattered ancestor. Scattered ancestors are a type of rogue astral spirit. Okay. And you know, you need to go to a Hugan, Mambo, Babalawo, Yanifa, Palero, Yeye, Hoodoo King, Hoodoo Queen, so that they can properly identify if that is a scattered ancestor or not. Um, you'll also encounter scattered ancestors as you become more enlightened and more capable. What this means is that as you open up your psychic gifts through prayer, meditation, diet, exercise, and through intense study and intense study of ancestor veneration, metaphysics, and the diligent servant leadership through ancestor veneration, you're going to enlighten yourself. You're going to raise your vibration, up level yourself. You're going to access new spiritual gifts. You will be able to see, hear, and feel more. And because you are able to see, hear, and feel more, you're going to encounter again scattered ancestors. Greetings, everyone. It's so good to see you all. Let's say you're daydreaming. I like to daydream. And let's say you're daydreaming and you have a vision of, you have a very frightening vision or a concerning vision. It's a vision that alerts you, right? And you know that this is not a familiar, this message is not coming from a spirit that's familiar to you. That might be a scattered ancestor, y'all. Hey, Whitney, Honsi Alicia Oko, I love you so much. Scattered ancestors. I'm going to tell you, Spirit gave me this concept, but I'm also going to text you a little bit of information. You're gonna love my little sneaky ass. Anyway, here's another way. I told you all through like the serious study of African spiritual practice, or just educating yourself about politics. That's also another form of enlightenment. Alicia Oko, I think you know what I'm talking about. But as you read academic texts and you enlighten yourself through scholarly and peer-reviewed resources, you become more knowledgeable about the truth. And that is another form of enlightenment that up-levels you and raises your vibration. And it gives you access to more spiritual gifts. It will strengthen your clairvoyance and your claircognizance and your clairaudience, or all of your clairs, essentially. And you will be able to see more, hear more, and deal with them more. I also want to talk to you all about traveling. So you all may travel to other lands. You all may travel. So, for example, someone was saying like, "Oh, I went to I went to Long Island and I encountered scattered ancestors." Well, yeah, you will through travel, because different spirits rest in different habitats. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, every country has its own super green food, and every religion has a love goddess. Every religion has a music god. Every religion has a water god. You know what I'm saying? So every geographical location has scattered ancestors. Deja vu. You'll have experiences with deja vu, and scattered ancestors are usually influencing those experiences with deja vu. And we'll be talking about that in a whole nother class where we talk about deja vu. I'm gonna have an entire class about deja vu. Marijuana and mushrooms. So some of you are marijuana smokers, and you're going to through marijuana smoking, enter into other realms. Mushroom use, mushroom usage, micro dosing, taking above like 3 grams of shrooms, getting mounted, for example, will introduce you to, you will see and be mounted by a scattered ancestor potentially. You need to be protected. Stay protected. You always need protection, especially if you're using shrooms. You don't want to get mounted by the wrong ancestor. Oh God. Or the wrong loa. Hit the skull emoji. Hit the skull emoji for me. Just tap it. Just tap it just because I said so. Not because you learned anything, just because you love me. You can get an ancestral life path reading to learn about scattered ancestors, to know if you have scattered ancestors, to figure out how to work with those scattered ancestors, to venerate them so that they can become a gungu. Now, scattered ancestors will cause bad luck in your life. If anybody has a series of bad luck events happening to them, you feel like you are experiencing systemic misfortune, you have a scattered ancestor. If your prayers go unanswered, scattered ancestors are interrupting they're interrupting the delivery process of your prayers. They are stealing your prayers. They are stealing your petitions. They are stealing your good blessings. They are taking them for themselves. Scattered ancestors are greedy motherfuckers because they are not being fed. So they will literally, they are parasitic. They will take and not give back that energy, right? They have nothing to share. They don't know how to share. Scattered ancestors also can manifest as problematic egbe. Yes, in Haitian voodoo, we do work with egbe and agongo. Please go to africanmagicschool.com and check out the classes with me and Asogwe Negmawon, and we talk more about that. africanmagicschool.com. Tons and tons of free information. africanmagicschool.com. 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 Sometimes you'll get messages through your agon, through divination, through meditation, through daydreaming, deja vu, and those agon will not be scattered ancestors, but those agon will point you in the direction of scattered ancestors or help you to identify scattered ancestors. That's right, africanmagicschool.com. Scattered ancestors, a concept I developed. Scattered ancestors. Some of the other problems that scattered ancestors cause for people: depression, sleep problems, mood swings, identity crises. For those of you all that deal with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, because I've had students that dealt with bipolar disorder, and for the most part, I was able to deal with them. I only had like one that was absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But that person, I think that person was just delayed in general. Like they spent like the past 28 or 29 years of their life like sleeping in a twin size bed. But that's neither here nor there. But people that typically suffer, not, thrive through bipolar disorder, but like literally are suffering through the shit and tortured by it, they have scattered ancestors. And their ancestors were usually like drunks, rapists, sloths, just useless people. Essentially, they really just served no purpose in life, and they died. But if you're thriving through bipolar disorder, you're thriving through schizophrenia, and you're happy, right? That when I'm not talking about you, and not everyone that deals with those disorders has scattered ancestors, right? Meaning that when I say dealing with it, I'm talking about you are suffering from it. It doesn't mean that you have scattered ancestors, but sometimes it does, and you need to perform the proper transition ceremonies for them. At Black Spectrum Network, we can provide you with those services. We are trustworthy practitioners. We are not, again, we're at the forefront of African spirituality. We are incredibly poised, sophisticated, and we have a mastery over the spirits that we work with. Um, and I just want to reinforce that point to you all. Um, we are experts in our fields. Um, we, for example, this class is coming from organic knowledge, organic ancestral knowledge. And if you want more courses like this, go to africanmagicschool.com. Natural disasters. So there are cities, communities that are negatively affected by natural disasters. And let's talk about on like a more micro level of analysis. Let's say your house randomly burns down. You don't know why. It's probably a scattered ancestor that did that. Probably a scattered ancestor, because we're talking about a rogue astral spirit, right? And scattered ancestors also have the ability to they have the ability to mount you, but they will mount the subconscious part of your brain. So you may have a candle that burned down your apartment and you forgot to put it out, it toppled over or something, it just you know what I'm saying? It's like that just you weren't paying attention. You can blame scattered ancestors for that, because they do have influence and dominion over the subconscious, just because they literally exist at the crossroads. They are not they have one foot in the spiritual realm, one foot in the in the physical realm, and they ain't really trying to cross over. Car accidents, scattered ancestors, plagues like COVID, scattered ancestors, hurricanes, tsunamis. Scattered ancestors interrupt your spell work. They interrupt your professional, academic, emotional healing progress. They distract you. They also they can warp the spiritual downloads that you receive. The thing about a virus is that it codes itself. It uses the same, a virus will use the same genetic or computer programming that non-harmful or let's say more benefic or benign cells or programs will use. And they will alter just one or two things about that code, and that's to create dysfunction amongst all the other healthy cells or healthy programs or codes. In that same way, a scattered ancestor can camouflage itself as an ego and give you information that's very helpful, but there's something about it that's off. And there may be a tiny bit of information that's off, and because of that tiny bit of information that's off, you miss your target, you miss your goal, you miss that deadline, you miss that revelation. You don't completely get it 100%. You don't really pass the test, simply because there was something off in the download that you received. And even though that tiny bit of information is tampered with, over time, let's put it this way. If you use a compass and that compass is off by even 1 degree, right? Imagine you won't make it to the North Pole. If that compass is off by 1 degree, you won't end up going north. You may end up going northeast. You may end up going northwest. At first, it looks like you're going north, but after a while, you'll start diverging so far from that path, you don't know where you are, and you can blame a scattered ancestor for that. Okay? So, if you learned something today, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't learn anything, hit the thumbs down. That's totally fine if you didn't. And if you did, great. If you didn't, awesome. What did you want to learn about? If you didn't learn anything, go to africanmagicschool.com. And there's going to be something that you did learn. Scattered ancestors. We're not talking about the rituals that you do to heal them. We're just talking about who they are, what they do, and when they show up. They are basically demons. No, they are not basically demons. Demons will barter services with you. Demons are Demons have transactional relationships. Demons have passwords. Demons have dominion over certain industries of life. Demons are no, they're not basically demons. No, you need to educate yourself about demonology. Hunsi Lento is going to be having demonology courses. The bougie priestess, the pretty priestess. Yes. Yes, please send love offerings to me. Cash App, $Quintari Shakir. What can we do about bringing our own scattered ancestors into our agungun? Or is that the right thing to do? I will be talking about that in our second master class. In my family, many people are psychic, and my aunt taught me to focus on them and encourage them into the light and pray for them. But I'm just starting to put terms to everything. Okay, good. Would there be a negative feeling if that does happen? I have paranormal stuff happening, but never negative feelings. Well, I mean, you got to do a divination. Do a divination and see. Ask, and they will tell you. Your agungun will tell you if there are scattered ancestors at the that are motivating those paranormal experiences. This is so good. Oh, thank you, thank you. I remember 9 years ago, I had a bad car accident. Don't even remember how it happened. It was like something distracted me, and before I knew it, I ran in the back of someone's parked car. That could definitely be a scattered ancestor that mounted you and took over. Even just for a split second, they paralyzed your cognitive abilities, and you ran into their car. Yes, many of you are learning about scattered ancestors. Please put my Cash App in the comments, you guys. It's awesome that you are spending your time in such a beautiful space to school us. Thank you. Hey, Pia. I love you, Pia. You do such a great job at the work that you do, Pia. I think that you're excellent. I think you're an excellent priestess. I think you're an excellent priestess. Are you all interested in our free mentorship program? If so, join our Discord group, the African Magic School. That's our Discord group. It's the African Magic School. Can ancestors showing up sickly in your dreams after their death represent a scattered ancestor? Absolutely. 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 Yes, absolutely. That is one of the telltale signs that their ancestor is scattered, is disconnected, and you need to do work to heal them. Will you teach about how to deal with them? Yes, I will, and it will be in my next master class. It will be in my next master class. Ugh, my phone died. I missed so much info. Don't worry, I'm going to leave this up for at least 24 hours. Okay? This is definitely a gem. Can't wait till the master class. Oh, this is a master class. In part 2, I'm going to be giving y'all some rituals to do to help heal those scattered ancestors. Yes, scattered ancestors. Ancestors that are just lost in the void. Ancestors that are not a part of a community. Scattered ancestors. I love you, Whitney. Make sure that you are ready to pick up the phone when I get off of here. Can ancestral life path readings inform you about the names of unknown ancestors? Yes, absolutely. They can. If that information is important to you, just ask if it's important to you, ask your reader if it's possible to do. Not every reader will be able to do that, not because they don't have the gift, just simply because it may not be a part of their way of delivering the information in the ancestral life path reading. I know for a fact that Priestess Peach Blossom, Hunsi Lento, and I know for a fact that we can reveal those names. Priestess Oshun Funke should be able to as well. But just ask. So glad to be a part of the mentorship. Can't wait to see what the paid has in store. I can't wait. Yes, I've had so many students in my mentorship programs. Um, I've had a lot of students studying under me. But as far as apprentices, my apprentices are at the Voodoo Institute. There are going to be people, you all will encounter people that will say that they have worked with me before. And I mean, I've worked with a lot of people. Black Spectrum Network is huge. I have a staff of 15 people. If you check our African Magic School, we've had probably about 6,000 people thus far in the past. Since I put up the Teachable for the African Magic School, it's been about 6,000 people in the past 5 months that have enrolled in the White Counter Magic course, so they'll consider themselves my student. But yes, my apprentices are at the Voodoo Institute. The Voodoo Institute. As of right now, I have about 20 initiates. I'm going to be initiating about 7 more people in the month of October. I have a lot of godchildren. But yeah, there will be, there are a lot of people I've taught. A lot of people I've taught. Yes. And not everybody has a good experience with me. Not everybody has a bad experience with me. But you also have to remember, I'm a professor, so I have I have mystical students. I also have academic students as well. So I have a lot of students, I've impacted a lot of people's lives. Have y'all already started sending out acceptance emails? No, not yet. You're gonna get an acceptance letter by October the 1st. Also, I did shrooms very recently, like this past weekend. I think I was mounted. I started talking in a completely different accent, and I was talking about myself in the third person. You did get mounted, absolutely. Where are you? I'm at the Hard Rock Maldives, Overwater Villa. Any other questions, guys? Started your altar today. Awesome. That's so good. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. You better live life. Of course, absolutely. It is very, ooh. Oops. It is very beautiful out here. I'm gonna try to, y'all see that water? Look at that water. Y'all see that? Let me get my grimy fingers out the. I'm definitely gonna have to come back here again. I'm definitely gonna have to come back. Definitely gonna have to come back. Okay. Let's see. It is very tranquil, I agree. Can we do a divination to find out if we have scattered ancestors? Miss Raisins, I don't know if you were late or I don't know if you were deaf, but I earlier in the master class I did say yes. I did say yes. Vacay looks good on you. Of course, money looks good on me. Money looks good on me. Money looks good on me. I work hard and I play even harder. I told y'all I'm more successful than 99% of American white men. I'm more successful than 99% of American white men. So I'm very blessed and very happy. Yes, please send love donations. I'm dropping gems. Don't just take for free. Don't just take for free. I'm stacking my coins for paid mentorship. Mark my words, I'll be ready in December. I hope we have some slots open in December because we're about to accept some more students. And if you all look on our Discord, I think y'all have about 25 students per person, and I think we're gonna cap it at 40. So, gotta get in now. If you don't have the money, you need to enroll in the influencer program. If you don't have money, I'm teaching you all how to make money. The light shining in your eyes. I have beautiful eyes. I have the eyes of a diviner. I have the eyes of a reader. You can tell I do readings all the time because it's difficult to see my iris. Edgar Casey, the psychic Edgar Casey, had the same eyes, the same eye pattern, where you just see reflections in those people's eyes. It's because I do so many divinations. In the same way that your hands can change patterns. Like people say I have watery fingers or whatever. Like you can see it in the pattern in my hands, in my palms. You can see that I do readings. But you can also see it in people's eyes too. That's why my eyes are so reflective. Simply because, in divination you have to do so much a lot of divination comes out of self-reflection. A lot of information in divinations comes out of self-reflection. Hi, Professor. It's Creole Katine. Glad you are getting rest and relaxation. Thank you so much for the free mentorship. Bless you. You are so very welcome. Michelle Smith. Are you Michelle Sorrell? My student, Michelle? Let me know. Are you my student, Michelle? Because if you are, please let me know. I really miss you. Damn. You're not. Anyway. All right, guys. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna go have breakfast. I'm gonna go ahead and have breakfast, guys. So I want to thank you all for tuning into our free masterclass on scattered ancestors. So yeah. With all of that being said, make sure that you all go to blackspectrumnetwork.com. I'm going to be creating my personal website. I think it's going to be called handlethecrisis.com. Also, remember the Ancestral Life Path reading can only be purchased at Black Spectrum Network from Black Spectrum Network staff. Why? Because we trademarked it. We trademarked it. You see it anywhere else, that person's going to get sued. We don't want to be sending out cease and desist letters, so don't y'all be doing it. Crap. Don't be selling Ancestral Life Path readings and it's trademarked by us. We don't want to put you in court. All right. So, with that being said, my reminder is that if you want to get ancient, occult, esoteric information from people that are at the forefront of African spirituality, where you receive unrivaled information from people who are disciplined experts in their field, that are going to offer you eternal and timeless information that is going to help you generate change in your life, come to us, because we are the international symbol of Black excellence in African spirituality. All right. I've been your teacher for today, Dr. Shakir, otherwise known as Huganzo. I want to let you all know that I'm a mastermind and a genius that provides brain training exercises that will introduce you to your intellectual and spiritual blind spots, okay? I also offer coaching and consultations, all right? You don't have to be a Fortune 500 executive. You don't have to be a politician to work with me, okay? Just go to blackspectrumnetwork.com and book an appointment. I'll get you to where you want to be. I'll get you to where you need to be. And together, we'll get each other to where we ought to be. I leave you all with these words of wisdom from the rapper Dreezy. Gave mercy to these hoes. What would Jesus do? I'ma keep my foot on your neck because I know you watching. And yes, I did come up with scattered ancestors. Anyway, that all being said, remember, the truth is always collaborative.